أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So for the past 2 weeks, we were studying ayat, the signs from Qur'an. Today's discussion is going to start from there, but the focus is going to shift. Today's topic is going to be, probably we'll continue with this for one or more weeks, al-ba'ath, resurrection. But before I get into the topic itself, let's first have some question ourselves. Do you guys believe in resurrection? You do. How sure are you with resurrection? And by how sure are you, what I would like you to consider is tomorrow sun is going to rise, right? Do you have any doubt about sun rising tomorrow? You are 100% sure sun will rise tomorrow. Okay. How do you know that? Why do you think sun is going to rise tomorrow?
It's happening every day so far.
It kept happening every day so far, so it must happen tomorrow. Anything else? Or let's increase the number of examples. I'm trying to see where we are in terms of resurrection. You're going to take an exam. Can you be sure that you will succeed in the exam?
To a certain extent.
To a certain extent, depending on what?
How well prepared you
How well prepared you are. So there needs to be something that you rely on to say that it's going to give you security. There should be something before that you will say, okay, this gives me a security that I'm going to succeed tomorrow in the exam, right? So when it comes to resurrection, let me tell you a different scenario. I forgot who. It was last Friday, one of the brothers were mentioning a friend of his and said that my friend, Mustafa was mentioning, he is now doing his residency in New York. So the person he is referring to is a medical doctor that he is working together in the same hospital. So his friend was trying to collect as many memories because his theory was that once you die, you are living in a dream world. And if you collect enough number of good memories, then you will have a lot of options to play with. So all of his life was to collect as many memories that he can so that he doesn't get stuck with 2 or 3 nice things in the rest of the eternity. Would you buy this idea? Why not? Let's put a question mark there. I will ask another scenario. In Hindu religions, one of them, I don't know which one, but we heard about this idea of reincarnation. Like in one of your previous life, you might have been a king or something. And if you are not good at the moment, don't worry. You will get reincarnated at some point in the future in another life, maybe again as a king or something. So don't beat up yourself too much because this is not the end. There's going to be another chance or another life, another set of choice and whatnot. Would you buy that? Why not? Like, let's talk about the last 2 examples. Why would you not buy that? Other than not being born into that culture.
Then there's no point to life. There's no purpose to live for something.
Okay. There's no purpose to live. Is there no purpose in these both cases? Like, for example, the first guy who was trying to collect as many good memories because his idea was that up until eternity after he dies, he is going to be living in a dream world. So he has a purpose, actually. He just wants to collect as many nice memories. And those memories are going to be a good use for him after he puts his head to the grave. Then the movie starts. Isn't it a good deal?
I guess these examples sound pretty nice to me actually, because it's like you're putting in effort here so you can get something better afterwards. So I think those conceptions are looking forward to something after death, for example. And I think it's maybe similar to the concept of resurrection that I might have, where I'm also putting in effort because I want something better. But I guess I must have had some sort of like experiences here where I see that if I do something good, I get a good outcome later. And if I do something bad, it might not be as good of an outcome. So I guess there's things that I can experience in my life where I'm looking forward to something good after putting in a certain effort.
Yeah. Just think about it in another way, because Qur'an came with this resurrection, said that there's going to be a life after life, you're going to get resurrected. But what if Qur'an is just tricking us? Because you guys didn't want to buy the previous two ideas, right? You found them to be, or at least I hope, somehow nonsense. So you didn't buy them. Let's give a third example. Let's say it happens a lot, actually. Are you guys on the WhatsApp group for the MSA? But so somehow some bot comes in and says like 30%, 50% profits, come and join our WhatsApp group and you're going to become rich, right? So somebody appears and offers you a deal which sounds too good to be true. Why do MSA, like board members, removing them from WhatsApp and not allowing us to entertain this option of becoming rich? Right? Because if you think about it, probably a good number of your friends in the classroom, if you were to tell them that I believe in an afterlife, probably, I mean, just out of being politically correct, they will say, very, very interesting, right? That is what they will say, very interesting. But in their insides, they would say what you are now saying to your friend who thinks he's going to get reincarnated, like your Hindu friend, for example. Or maybe like that other friend who thinks that he is going to just live in a dream world after. So the question is, am I sure? How am I going to be sure? How am I going to be certain? As much as, or maybe even more than, tomorrow sun is going to rise. How can I be sure and secure or have some sort of a certainty that resurrection is going to happen? What's your evidence to that? Because if you really think about it for a second, putting your Muslim upbringing aside, if you were to hear it for the first time, would you say this is a crazy idea? Or would you say, oh, it makes perfect sense? Where would you stand? Right? And as we have been studying for the past 2 weeks, Qur'an has been giving us signs, because it started with the creator himself, the maker of this existence, me in the first place. I don't see such a being, but for the past 2 weeks, we have been studying that everything that I experience is a sign pointing to him. This is what we discussed for the past 2 weeks, right? And what was the idea of a sign? It's like the signpost of New York. I'm going to have some repetitions. Excuse me for that. Signpost for New York City was a simple blue metal, but it's not New York City itself. It points to New York City. If you follow it, it takes you there. And it has nothing to do with New York City in its essence. Like New York City doesn't look like this metal at all. It's just a pointer. It just shows where New York City is, right? Likewise, as we have been studying for the past 2 weeks, everything in this life is a signpost that points to their maker. Just like your mom cooking you your favorite food is a signpost to what? To your mom's love. It doesn't look like love or it doesn't look like your mom either, but it's a sign that points to your mom, saying that your mom loves you, right? Now, how about resurrection? Are there any signs for resurrection? Or am I going to say, okay, these signs that we studied for the past 2 weeks are convincing enough to me. Now I believe in God. And since this book enlightened me, it looks like this is his speech. Whatever is said in here, I believe in it. He says there's going to be a resurrection. Go for it. Yes, I am now an adamant believer of resurrection. Is this going to be the idea? Or am I going to get some sort of a certainty that at least as much as sun will rise tomorrow, I am more certain than that actually I will rise tomorrow after I die? How can I be so sure? What are the signs for that? Okay, this is what we are looking for. And in this class in general, why are we pushing it in this direction in this class? Because let's take it as a motto, but in Qur'an is a book, but that book is reading us the book of universe. Like sometimes you take a commentary of something out there, right? Because like there are commentaries of Quran itself, right? Because Quran is a very loaded text, and we need somebody to explain us what Quran is saying in depth, right? Universe is a book. You are a chapter of this book. Your youth is a paragraph in this chapter. And you are having this first-hand experience of reading your own self as a book. Quran is an interpreter of this experience. This is why I am looking for, how does Quran explain that to me? I am living this life. I am in need of conviction. I'm in need of certainty. I wouldn't like to buy just some WhatsApp message saying that I'm going to make you rich. You don't buy this on the face value. Am I going to buy that, oh, there's going to be an afterlife, don't worry. And I'm going to make all my investment in there to get nothing in return? Doesn't look like a smart idea. You wouldn't do that, right? So I'm expecting from Quran, if you are mentioning resurrection, where did you come up with this? How can I be certain about that? Okay. Any comments before we dive into the verses? Any questions? Any comments? Are we good so far? Okay, let's see the first verse. So this continues from where we were left off last week. So still from Surah Ar-Rum, and we continue from verse 24. Last week we studied 22, 23. Now it is 24. Again, it starts with وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ. And among his signs is this: يُرِيكُمُ الْبَرْقَ خَوْفًا وَطَمَعًا وَيُنَزِّلُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً فَيُحْيِي بِهِ الْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ مَوْتِهَا إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَعْقِلُونَ. And among his signs is this: he displays before you the lightning, giving rise to fear and hope, and sends down water from the skies, giving life thereby to the earth after its death. In this, behold, there are messages indeed for people who use their reason. A very interesting verse. And let's not take it as, I remember myself taking Quran as such, as if something very fragile. And, science is so solid, but Quran is so fragile. You don't want to touch it too much because it might break at any point, right? It's not really out of high esteem. It's out of my fear to break it apart. Because this verse is talking about what? Lightning and rain. And apparently saying that if you think about it, it's going to show you about resurrection. Come on, with the rain and the lightning, people are denying existence of God, let alone proving the existence of resurrection. How do you expect me to do that? So let's read into this. What does the verse say? Okay. Among his signs is this: he displays before you the lightning, giving rise to both fear and hope, So now lightning is a sign. Sends down water from the skies, giving life thereby to the earth after its death. So, how is this a sign? What do you think? Now it's your turn. Because in the following verses, he will bring it to, let's read the next verse, then you see the context, so we talk about it together maybe. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَن تَقُومَ السَّمَاءُ وَالْأَرْضُ بِأَمْرِهِ. And among his signs is this: the skies and the earth stand firm at his command. ثُمَّ إِذَا دَعَاكُمْ دَعْوَةً مِنَ الْأَرْضِ إِذَا أَنْتُمْ تَخْرُجُونَ. And when he will, in the end, when he will call you forth from the earth with such a call, lo, you will emerge. You will all emerge. So what do you think? What sort of a sign is this? What sort of a proof is this? How is my Hindu friend going to read this and take a lesson? How is the first friend who thinks he's going to live in a dream world will take a lesson? What about then? How do I take a lesson from here? What do you think? What sort of a sign is this? Any answer is a good answer at this point. Let's try to open it up. Who wants to give the first shot? Boys, you start and make some funny comments so that sisters get some encouragement from you. Okay. I'll make fun of you. No? Okay, no signs. I don't see any sign here.
I guess it's like a sign that God has the ability to bring the earth back from death and give it life. For example, like trees and plants and whatever it may be, just from the rain. And if that's possible, like why is it not possible for us to come get life after death?
Okay.
That's very surface level, I guess.
I mean, that's fine. That's fine. Let's start from somewhere. But is this a sign? Like water is there and life is coming out. Isn't this natural? Like what sort of a sign is that? If you say this to your biology teacher, what would your biology teacher say?
Water gives life.
Water gives life. This is why we are searching for water in Mars, right? If we find water, we will say, there is life in Mars. There was life in Mars. How is this a sign of the creator? No? Oh, there's a hand. Okay.
If we start with the water and the life part, so when we look at the original, it's like when you look in details, everything becomes so beautiful. With this ayah. The ayah says, from the sky, and from sky, the water being sent. And then it says, like water comes, and then like there's almost like it's almost saying that you will see when you observe the water coming and then life, right? But also it says, and then he gives life with it. So it puts them in a temporal order. You see water and life, but then breaks this order, right? By inserting the whoever is giving life, right? Saying that you will see water, but then you will see not life. You will see life being given. And you will see in this process, the life being given, water is being used. It's almost, destroying our understanding that the water gives life. That this, whatever is happening, is a sign, as you said, a signpost towards what? because he gives life. So when you observe that, it will become a sign of the one who gives life to what? The dead earth. So you will see an example, a sign of life giver to death.
And very interesting, very beautiful. Jazakallah khairan. It starts with the lightning, because lightning is maybe an initial example of life. In the middle of darkness of night, a light is appearing out of nowhere. How did this happen? Like, where did this come from? It was not existing. Last week, we were giving the example of my chocolate faucet. In the light bulb, electricity is coming, and then electricity goes and light comes. Like in this example, out of night, this light and sound is coming. How does this happen? I need to ask the question, how does this happen to be? Giving a story of sequence of events is what we do. This is what we call as science. Just giving a sequential order of what happens and what follows. And actually, it was a very beautiful catch, what Brother Birkan mentioned in here. So, like the fa over there could be taken as the reasoning fa or the following fa. But whichever way you take it, by the doer of the action being the creator, he says, I am behind the scenes. It's not that the water gives life. It's not that the clouds hitting each other creates light. Or is it? This is what I need to ask the question, right? Because this is our claim. At least if I were to ask you, how come lightning happens? If you were to say that, well, the clouds, as they are going with the wind, they are getting positive charge, negative charge, and when they come next to each other, then the electricity is jumping and light is coming out. Like, this is our explanation for how something comes into being, how something was not there before and now it is there. Like, is this an explanation that makes sense? Or is this just a story that I am cooking up? Like, is it convincing me? This is why the verse is saying that the input to the system seems like water, the outcome is life. You have a comment there?
Question, because I can't clearly see the connection between lightning and life, because like it's mentioned after lightning, like how fun. So for me, when I think about lightning, I think about taking life. Actually, I don't think about something bringing life. So I just don't see.
Okay. So let's think about it. Lightning needs to be a signpost to what? And in here, it is saying that it's a sign for you so that you become hopeful and at the same time of fear. Just like your mom hugging you is a sign of love. So lightning is a sign of hope and fear. So let's go with the feeling part of it, because I was going with the creation part of it, but let's go with the feeling part of it. As the lightning happens, especially it happens with the kids, if you, we become desensitized over time, I guess, what the kids are being afraid when they hear the sound, and the light is being like something strange in the middle of night. So when I ask question, how come they come to being? How come those feelings come into being in me? Like generally, I'm being a little nitpicky here, but we are not careful about these feelings. This is why I would like to highlight them. We feel like, oh, it's natural. When I hear this sound, I become afraid. Like the fear just haphazardly happens there. But how does this happen? Like there are certain people, like Allah creates some diseases so that we appreciate that things are not that natural. The person is not able to appreciate love, for instance. Like there are kids who avoid eye contact or socially, if you even just smile at the kid, like the kid, just the kid is very flat-faced, doesn't appreciate, doesn't understand it. What does this mean? Then that means it's not natural for you to recognize somebody loving you, right? It's not natural for you to be afraid of something or for you to be hopeful of something. Where does these feelings come from? Is it the light or the sound that emerges those feelings in me? If it is, it doesn't happen in certain people. So where does this come from? So here, emphasis is being made that out of the darkness, light is being given. Out of lack of life, life is being given. Because the example is lightning and water. Darkness to light comes with lightning. Death to life comes with water. Right? If I were to plug this TV to the water tap, and this TV starts working, what would you say? Or would you say, are you crazy? This requires electricity. Like, where did the water, I'm just plugging this into water tap. You would say, are you crazy? It will never work. This wouldn't work. Like, water doesn't, like, you need electricity or something of that sort, right? But when I plug into electricity, something is coming out. We just get used to it. And we say, it does that. But does it really do that? Like, this is the question that I need to ask. This is why Qur'an is bringing us these weird examples, which we are supposed to see them as weird, actually. Yes.
That question reminded me another ayah. People who can memorize can help me. But it is like it says, and we sent you the winds as a messengers of the life or waters coming. Right? The wind are sent, and then the rain starts. So the Quran, when Quran explains such events, it reminds us that in life. So, for instance, if I hear a fire truck siren, right, I know that a fire truck will pass. I hear the siren, it gives me the message of the fire truck is coming, right? It's a sign for the truck, and then I see the truck is coming. So the way I read this event is the sound is coming from the truck. So sound travels, tells me about the truck, and I see the truck, etc. It's a natural thing, order, explained within the things themselves. So Quran explains the same thing. So what happens? We see a thunder. Thunder gives us the news of what? The rain is coming. We see the rain. And then rain comes as water from the sky to the ground. Then we see life flourishing. How do we read this? Within the natural order, again. Oh yes, the clouds are hitting each other, or the electricity exchange, creating the lighting, and then follows the water condensing, whatever, the vapor condensing, and then coming down as a water. That's simple, right? This is how we read. Quran says, okay, I will explain the same phenomena now with the right tool. So we have to carefully read the ayahs, especially the doers and the pronouns. There's always a huge highlight in Quran in that. So for instance, it starts with ayati, like his signs. It doesn't say that, and there are also signs. That's what we do in sciences. Like in schools, we see what is the sign of spring coming, the change in the angle of the sun, or whatever, right? But the sign is the sign of the spring. The ayah first corrects that. It says, no, whatever sign you see there, it's his sign. Meaning it points to him, not some fire truck, but to him. And then it continues with the lighting. It says, we show you the light. The doer who is he. You don't see lighting, or the lighting does not appear. He shows the lighting. So he corrects that. And then he says, he sends down, right? It's always, what is the
Yunazzilu.
field there?
Yeah,
Yunazzilu,
Yeah,
and then
you-
yuriku, yeah. Yuri, Yunazzilu, etc. Right? He does that. He does that. And then he sends down the water, and then he gives life. The connection is your experience. You will see the lighting, you will see the water, and you see the life. And now Quran interprets it. We show you the lighting as a message that water will come. We show you the water as a messenger to tell you that the life will come by him always. And then he takes the same idea for the entire ayah and says, with this entire phenomena of the sign of what? He will resurrect. Not that you will get resurrected or incarnated, whatever. He will resurrect.
I guess in this regard, we need to ask the question, if, as I'm reading the verse, does he show me or I see? Does he take the rain down or water just falls down? Or life flourishes or life is being given? What is our perception? We seriously need to think about this. Sometimes I give this example. I was asking that question in one of those MSA discussions back in the day. I asked the student, how does it rain? He said, would you like a secular answer or a religious answer? I said, no, I want your answer, like the answer that satisfies you. So what is your answer to these questions? Does water come down? Do I see myself or I'm being shown? Okay, the eye started to close a little bit. So how is this proof for a resurrection? How is this a sign? Like rain coming down, water, life coming out, good for the plants. What does it tell you about you being resurrected? You're not a plant, are you? Okay, good for the plant. So actually, it's well, this is how we do it in Turkey. Like there are a lot of water fountains near graveyards. We pour water to the graves. It's my grandfather still sleeps there. Like it rose up because we put water there. So definitely you don't pour the water to raise my grandfather from the grave. How is this the evidence for us? Also, the next verse says, among his signs is this, the skies and the earth stand firm at his command. Do you agree with that statement? How does the moon stand there? Or let me ask you a question this way. How does the moon stand there? Any idea?
It's an orbit.
It's in orbit. Yeah, it's in escape velocity versus pulling, right? So what sort of a command is that? It just stands there. No?
And it stands itself, or due to some geometric relationships in the nature. When he says, we put it there, it's like egoistic text saying like I put in we at the beginning of everything. But we know that it happens by itself.
Yeah. What do you think? But would you say that this is God's command, that the moon is standing there, or sun is rising, sun is setting, and whatnot? Like, what does it mean to say that this is God's command? No? Or are you guys content with, like, what's your answer? Okay, yeah, I'm interested in that. I shouldn't provoke you more than I have already did. Yes.
I feel like it points to the fact that there has to be like a will for something to be the way that it is, especially if we're not assuming that that thing is doing it on its own, or the will is kind of like, and the will actually, whether it has its own will to stand there or something else is willing, there has to be some kind of decision has had to be made, even with the plants coming. Like, you could pour the water on the plants, but it's not because you pour the water that they're gonna live. Like, there has to be a decision, right? And I think the command, and then after, when he says they will call you forth with such a call, and that's what you will respond to. So there is a will in which, like, an object is subject to, that it will respond to. That's the way I see it.
Right? Like, okay, let's talk about that. Okay, I'm going to release it. Oof, it fell. How did it fall? Did it fall as command of God, or it fall? How did it fall? Any answer?
I mean, we can look at the earth or like gravity and part of the system that we control. And then we can think like the planets being collide, and it's like we're just like a part of that system where, like, there's earth, there's sun, there's moon, and they're all like working in a direction where the system is working well. And even when humans, for example, make systems or like make things, there are like issues with them, there are mistakes, and we always debug it and try to solve it. This is God's creation, or the bigger systems that we're in. It's much more robust to be random. So that's why, like, it's one of his signs that we have all of these.
Okay. But in this case, like, how do I know in the first place that it is command of God? Because really, I'm trying to figure out if this is a sign of his. Because my physics teacher do not see this as sign of God. It's just gravity, man, is it not? The Quran is bringing this up, apparently, as his signs. But what sort of a sign is that of
What
his?
is this? The phone?
Yeah, the phone falling.
How is that a sign?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. How is this a sign? Because he says, in here, he says, skies and the earth stand firm, meaning moon is not falling.
Or the water falling down is a sign of the one who sends it down. Whatever. It's a sign. The water falling down is a sign. Quran says.
And water falling down and moon not falling down is a sign of his. Let's take both, right? Because they're one after the other. Water falling down is his sign. Moon not falling down is also his sign. And I'm just taking it to the room. Phone falling down with the same logic.
I guess so you could look at it, but since there are distinctions, that somebody had to have made them different instead of it all being the same. Because if nobody wanted it to be different, it would have all stayed the same. I guess you could think of it kind of like that. And also, when it comes to like the water giving life to the earth, like I originally thought of it like Allah says like Allahu khalaqa kulla dabbatin min ma', right? Everything living is created from water. So he made it in a certain way where the water is meant to give life to every living thing.
Okay. But in here, he's directly saying that no, he sends down water, but he gives life. So let's stick with here so as not to make things more complicated. What do you think? What sort of a sign is that, folks? And if there's no sign, Quran is faking us. Let's be honest.
I don't want to, overemphasize that, but that before, you hit, almost breaking this understanding that the water is meant to give life. It says no. There's gap between the two. Water fed you. and then. There's a gap between the two.
Yes, folks, what do you think? I'm not going to impose my answers on you. I really like to hear answers, right or wrong. Why are we struggling? Let me also tell you why we are struggling here. It might be multiple reasons. First, maybe we were reading the book of universe not from how Qur'an taught us, but from how people other than Qur'an teaching us. Like you guys are at an Ivy League university. You must have put a good amount of effort to get to here. A good amount of effort to look things from that other perspective. And that other perspective doesn't look at things as signs, right? It just looks at the New York signpost as a sign, not as a signpost, as a metal, piece of metal. This is the perspective that we get used to. What Quran is saying in here should really be revolutionizing our perspective. So if you see it very superficial, although I claim just the opposite, this is a super deep sign, actually. It is so deep. But if I see it as superficial, then it's because my perspective is superficial. So this is something that first I need to take to myself and double check myself rather than trying to say that, well, you're just overcomplicating things. No, I'm not. Quran is making this claim or putting this as a suggestion. Let's try to see it. How is this a sign? Yeah.
I guess you like what the Quran was saying about there being a gap between like the water and light and maybe like the phone and falling to the ground. I suppose for me that gap is very small. So it seems like phone will fall to the ground, but the phone itself doesn't possess any properties of like the phone isn't going to say, oh, I'm a phone, I'm on Earth, so gravity exists, so that means I have to fall.
And I have this much mass, the Earth has this much mass, so calculate the equation and then fall with the speed and whatnot.
Exactly. So all of these things exist, but the things that are involved don't have that all-encompassing knowledge for the phone to actually be able to fall to the ground. But I think where I struggle is that is like getting to that level of thinking takes more effort, whereas just going with what I see, phone is there, phone falls, something is making the phone fall to the ground, but I'm not thinking deeply enough about what that is. And then I guess another example that actually happened recently between me and a colleague was thinking about life. The claim was that food has to be giving you life. Like if you don't eat food, you die. But then, and it's like the idea is that, well, there are all these other factors that go into like life that the food can't like encompass. But then I guess the claim was that it's what I can see directly with my eyes. I eat food, like I see directly with my eyes that if I eat food, I survive. If I don't eat food, I don't survive. So that's the perspective I feel like.
Yeah, but the problem is, let me give you a very real example. I had a nice plant container. I bought a nice porcelain, and I had this, what's it called, bonsai, and my office doesn't have a window. So I planted the bonsai and I wanted to put it before the window, which is in the aisle. There were other plants that belongs to the other person, another professor. So I thought I should put it next to his, and water it there so that it's going to get some sun and whatnot. Once it starts to flourish, I will take it to my office. I have a fake light in my office. The next week, that plant was gone. Somebody stole my plant. So do you think if that person says, well, it wasn't aisle, I thought it was just free, and I picked it up and went. Oh, wait, but don't play with it. So do you think is this a reasonable thing to say? Or if you find a wallet in the room that we are now in, do you think it's okay to say that, well, since nobody takes it, probably it's free, so I will take it? Isn't it natural? It is there, let's pick it up, right? But you see an apple in the tree, nobody's here, so I will take it, it's mine. We say. Is it natural to say so? Like, is an apple or a cup of water, just imagine how expensive is a cup of water. A cup of water is actually, must be so valuable for you than gold, right? Because gold doesn't like make you live or anything. Water is so valuable. And imagine you find a cup of water here and you take it and drink it since nobody is claiming it. Is this a reasonable and natural thing to do? Or should I say, it looks like this external entity called water is so valuable for me. I don't know water, water doesn't know me, but it looks like it has a so central role in my life. Shall I not ask who put this here? We don't ask that question, yes, but is this reasonable to do? When it's somebody else's wallet, I say, it must be somebody else's, it's not mine. I admit this, and I'm saying, whose wallet is this? If it is a plant in the aisle of a building, I say, who put this here? That's why I'm angry with the guy who took it away. I didn't say it's free. If it's not yours, definitely it's somebody else's. Why are you picking it up, right? When it comes to a cup of water, we don't ask that question. Why? Because water definitely has a role in me. Shouldn't be asking the same question. Whose water is this? Where does this come from? And one thing that Sister Aisha mentioned is something that we overlook so much. Sister Zareen also mentioned it. Like this water, if I drink the water will go and just keep functioning in this body in very different ways, right? It will become part of my cells in my finger, also in my brain cells, also in my liver, like all different, if you like, units, and it goes and functions perfectly. This requires making a lot of choices, is it not? This is something that we do not pay attention to. We say it's natural. Is it natural? Like imagine you got hired to a company and you go and do, I don't know, what was your major again?
Econ.
Econ. You do accounting in there. What was yours?
Bioengineering. Bioengineering.
Bioengineering. Like, I mean, to me, you look like each other. Okay, let's assume you're both water molecules. Okay, so you go to, I don't know, brain, you do econ. You go to liver, you do bioengineering. Like different parts of body, different functions, and they are doing the function. A choice is being made at the moment, right? Because we are not talking about a past history. Right now, this is happening. This is what we mean when we say the water doesn't have the quality to give life. What does this mean? It sounds a very cryptic sentence. That means life is happening by this water molecule really properly working in here versus here, right? It could have do its job this way or that way, but it's being done in the proper way. Doing a job in proper way. To be able to do your job in proper way, you study 4 years at Penn, pay a luggage load of money to learn it, right? You work for 4 years like crazy. At the end, you barely do econ or bioengineering to a certain extent, like you're not a professional at all by the time you finish. That water molecule does this job. How do I explain that? This is the question. It's not natural for you to be a proper econ person after you graduate from here. It requires effort. But when it comes to the water, the stupid water that you drink, for it to function here properly, It's natural. What do I mean by that? This is why it is a sign. You wouldn't expect water molecule to be that smart, that powerful, or at least otherwise you're assuming that. This is the contrast here. So water is coming from the sky and giving life. It sounds like Gandalf making a magic, actually. This is why it's a sign. Since it cannot do it by itself, then it must be that somebody else is giver of life. It's not the water itself. The same, like the water falls down, but the moon doesn't fall down. So I need to ask the question, how come that water is coming down, but moon is not coming down? At this point, you should really be asking yourself, I mean, of course, you guys are nice people and you don't want to embarrass me. This is why you're not asking it. You are saying that, probably you don't know, but there's this thing called gravitational force. And then this is the equation for that. And of course, this is happening because of that. What do you mean? Like such a stupid thing to say that why is moon not falling? Have you not studied physics in your undergrad? I did. That's not the point. The point is, as this is falling, as we would say, right? It's falling according to an equation. A choice is being made at this point. Like if I release this, it's not floating, for example. Something possible, but it does not happen, right? Or it could fall, although I hold it like this, it could say, no, it doesn't happen this way either. It happens in a certain way, and we have an equation for that, right? That means somehow this guy needs to act according to the equation. What does this mean? Somebody needs to make the decision based on that equation. That equation means knowledge, right? So what do I attribute this knowledge to? Am I going to attribute it to the phone? Or am I imagining some sort of a force that pulls this down? Maybe I do. Then where is this force? And I need to further ask the question, where is this force? Is it the earth pulling it down? Where? You see why these are signs? Because we memorized so many things without questioning so far that we are having trouble seeing these as signs. This is why we need to pause and say, is it really a sign? Like I'm trying to unpack it to sound stupid before you, so that you realize that actually this is a sign. Actually, moon really should fall down or just float away or something. Moon staying there as a moon means a decision is being made every moment. Who makes that decision is the question. Now, contrasting the two verses, the first one is saying that water is coming down with his command, and moon is staying there with his command. So it looks like command is coming from the single and same source. Do I see that as such? To the extent that I start seeing this, to the extent that I start seeing the universe as it cannot happen by itself, yet it is happening every moment. Therefore, who is the one that makes this choice moment by moment, at every single moment? Because I am interested in such a decision for me to be resurrected as well. The problem is, if you think like you're living because you were born at some point and you're not malnourished, this is why I am alive. But of course, I need a God to create me initially. But from there on, I can take care of myself. Or my parents took care of me. Or I am healthy right now because I went to gym yesterday. Like this sort of before-after relationships, if I have this mindset, these verses would challenge that. Okay? So once we come to this part of the verse, so when he makes a call to you with a call, like da'akum da'watan, this sounds like a call, but such a call. the same command. If the command is given to you, you will get resurrected as well. The moment I start seeing that everything in this existence is happening with a command, this is a key. Have you heard about the command be and it is? Quran talks about this. Maybe we should make a session about this. Be and it is. What does it mean? Do you hear God saying be, 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 be? Have you heard about be? No? Apparently this is what it is though. Everything seems to be a be command, but do you see it? Like sometimes it happens, like if you have a very, I don't know, authoritative father. Have you seen authoritative grandfathers? You guys are coming from Indian subcontinent. Like the grandfather just says, just like the sign, and then the father disappears, right? So that's a command. You don't hear it, but once you see that your father mysteriously disappeared from the room, you said, oh, he must have received this command, right? He wouldn't act otherwise, as weird as such, right? So he must have seen some sort of a sign. In this universe, the moment I see that the water is coming down, moon is not coming down. Doesn't know that equation. It always acts according to that. Who lifted his eyebrows to this moon saying, you stay there? Sun, you turn like this. Keep moving like this. Everything is a command. Therefore, I say, I am dying. What's going to happen? Says, what do you worry? What do you worry? You guys are not rich yet, but you're going to get rich, inshallah. So
he will study rich people.
Oh, he will study rich people. So you would like to invest your money somewhere trustworthy, right? What is it that you worry? When I die, where does my being, whom am I trusting my being? Where is it going? Because I will lose it, right? At the moment, I know here I am, although I'm not holding myself together, but somehow I am being put together. Once I die, what are you afraid of? Do you think you are not within my command? Yourselves, whose command are they in? You drink water, water is going to go to your brain and liver and everything. Under whose command? Is it different than the one who is keeping the moon there, but taking the water down? Where does your worry come from? To the extent that I am convinced that everything is a command, to the extent that I start hearing that actually everything is a be command is taking place, then no question is left actually for the resurrection. وَلَهُ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ كُلٌّ لَهُ قَانِتُونَ. Unto him belongs whosoever is in the heavens and the earth. All are obedient to him. وَهُوَ الَّذِي يَبْدَأُ الْخَلْقَ ثُمَّ يُعِيدُ وَهُوَ أَهْوَنُ عَلَيْهِ. Very beautiful verse. It is he who creates in the first instance. He is the one who creates you in the first place. ثُمَّ يُعِيدُ. And he keeps repeating it. In some translations, they translate this as as he will create. But in Arabic, this is an imperfect tense. It can mean both for the future or for the present tense, which is the case actually. It's not like God created you when you were first born and you regenerate. No, he created you first and he keeps creating you. Don't you see that? The second one is even easier. Like imagine you are, this is how it happens with my daughter. The first house that she drove is a little not perfect. Second time, third time, it's easier to do the same thing for a second and third time, right? He made you in the first place and he keeps doing you again and again, renewing you. The second one is even easier for you than the first one, isn't it? What a beautiful example, isn't it? Like, it actually gives you a guarantee. My friend who said, I'm going to be reincarnated, based on which evidence? The other friend who said, I'm going to live in a dreamland after I die. What's your evidence for that? How do I know that this is the truth? You can't know before you die, right? But in this case, it's saying that actually you have an evidence. You have been created and recreated so far how many billion times in your life up until this point. You being recreated once more after you die, would you have any question mark about this? Because this is one of the things that we discussed last week or the week before. Do you think, is there any single atom in your body right now which was there last year? Any? We keep renewed, aren't we? We eat, old particles leave, new particles come in. You are being remade every moment. The one who keeps making you and remaking you is capable of making you once more. So I am sure. Now that the confidence is given to me because the maker is capable. Because this is a huge question, right? Would it really happen? It kept happening for a million times in my experience. I'm not talking about like if I had a Christian friend, he used to believe in resurrection, and his reasoning was because Jesus was resurrected. I said, were you there when he was resurrected? Like, he came back. That's why we will come back. Like, he died and he come back. Were you there when he was resurrected? Oh no, it's narrated. Fine. How about your own experience? Do you have a personal experience about resurrection? This verse is saying that, yes, you do.
And he stopped believing in the resurrection because of the question.
He was saying that belief is something of heart, that we don't question, we don't think. But Qur'an in here said, لِقَوْمِ يَعْقِلُونَ, for people who thinks. Qur'an is inviting us to think about these matters, to see the signs. Belief in resurrection is not something you believe in just because. And as we mentioned, belief is certainty, security. So I do have security in it because there are tons of signs of it in this existence in the first place. Any comments, any questions? Ali is just ruining your attention, I guess. Yes. What do you think, folks? Any comments? No? Yes.
The part like our atom it's on regenerating the capacity. But then like how do we know for sure when we die we get resurrected, not just because of the Quran? Like how do we know for sure that happens? Because like everything else, like the moon and everything, we can see it. And so we can like relate back to it. It's more like not like logical, but like we see it. So then like we internalize it better. But the concept of resurrection is we can't see nothing yet. So how do we like truly believe in it?
Yeah. So that same question that I was asking at the beginning. Are you sure that tomorrow the sun is going to rise? So there are two things. One can say, well, I don't know, because still it's tomorrow. Maybe the world is going to get annihilated tonight. I would understand that. But in terms of, would you have any worry that sun will not rise tomorrow? If you have an assignment for tomorrow, you will do it because you are sure sun will rise tomorrow. Based on what? It has been rising so far. So whomever, whatever was making it rise, will make it rise tomorrow. So my question is, I am living in this life. Am I going to be resurrected after I die? I can be as sure as sun will rise tomorrow if I keep saying that, well, I have been rising from dead anyways for the past 40 years. Every moment of my life was a new life being given to me. Therefore, I will be sure. As much as, like you sleep tonight, you will wake up tomorrow. Do you have any doubts about this? I mean, you can say, I don't have any guarantee. I will understand that. That means I'm not the giver of life. That's a good thing. That means still you recognize that the giver of life has the option not to give you life. That's a separate issue. But when you are getting into life, if you had a doubt that tomorrow you will not wake up, you wouldn't go to bed, would you? If you really know that, just imagine you are in the hospice care of a beloved one. And that beloved one might not wake up tomorrow. And you are waiting in the hospital. Would you sleep that night? You're not really worried, right? You would like to have this life. Now put yourself in there. If you're unsure whether you will wake up tomorrow or not, you will not go to bed tonight. You would like to make the most of every moment. You will be super stressed, right? But you don't. Why? So you know that you were being given life every day. So you expect that you will be given life tomorrow. So in this regard, to the extent that I see that I am being given life, and by this I don't mean I assume or I guess. No. To the extent that I am sure that I am being given life at this moment, and this had been the case for the past 20, 30 years, I would say, what does this sign, this points to? What sort of a sign is this? That means the giver of life is capable. He can. Then your question becomes, will he? Okay, I see that he can, but is there a reason that he will give it to me? Are we clear with this distinction or no? I think you have another, I didn't answer your question, I feel like.
I know that he can. All the signs in the world point that Allah can do anything. It's just like, how do we know that it will happen? It's not like, can it happen? It's just like, will it happen?
Yeah, so, I mean, if you are going to make an investment, and I'm a, economy, a person who has been zero failure, 100% success rate, and you're investing in me, versus this person is just a freshman in econ, and you're investing in him. Based on my track record, wouldn't you say, if I imagine 100% success rate, the moment you put the money in, you say, okay, let's start to look at Zillow, which home shall I buy? I already know it's guaranteed we are going to start earning in 2 years. Or would you say, well, how do I know I will earn? Based on my track record, wouldn't it give you the security that this must happen, or no? If you really see me as doing all the past track record, you would have no question. But if it is based on, it looks like you're a good guy, and everybody in this room says that you're a trustworthy person, I'm giving you the money, I'm investing with you, but I won't believe it unless I see the return coming. What I mean is, my being insecure in this might mean that I am not so sure he's the one that makes it. Because if I were to be so sure that he makes it, you love your mom, I guess, right? Okay, I think your mom is so kind to you because once you turn 30, she will make a brain masala from your brain. Do you believe in that?
Sorry?
Like she's going to take your brain, your mom. That's why she's treating so nice to you, so that your brain ripes enough. Once you get 30, she will cook your brain, making a brain masala. Would you believe in that? No, it's a nonsense, right? She has been so kind to me. There's no sign that like she's going to cook my brain at some point, right? You're 100% sure. How do you know? I think she will do it. Sounds so funny, right? So stupid, right? So to the extent that you see, you build this security because by experience, you know that she is a nice person, merciful person and whatnot. Therefore, she will never do such a thing, right? In this life, you are being carefully created and recreated mercifully in this life. And somebody comes and says, he will put you into grave and let you rot. He's going to make a food out of you for the worms in the grave. What would you say? Are you less secure in your creator than your mom? Because you laughed at it when I said it for your mom, right? Would he let you rot in the grave? If I'm having question marks, and it's fine to have question marks, but what does this indicate? That indicates that I am not as sure that everything is assigned to him. As an umbrella term, yes, we all say everything is created by God. But when it comes to specifics, this falls because of gravity, we say. Life comes out because of water, we say. We don't see them as signs of the creator. This is why we don't see that, of course, if I get into the grave, I will rot. But then when he comes and says, no, I will not let you rot, just like your mom is not going to cook your brain. As this is a funny story, the other one is a funny story as well. Yes.
My understanding of the question and tying into the text we studied, the ayah, the question is the resurrection. And we have doubts about resurrection to start with, because we think that we exist, we live, we die, and then if we will resurrect it, we will get resurrected. This is the mentality we have right now. That you sustain your body, and your body sustain you. That's your mentality. Hence, when we talk about the resurrection, all like the immediate things that come to our mind is that, wait a second, do I have any power to resurrect myself? Or is there any natural order, natural law that I can rely on that will, satisfy its need for the resurrection, etc. And this is how we think. And Quran says, okay, let's start with correcting this mentality. It's not you that you live. Every moment we give life. Okay? It's not you that you get older. In other words, it will say, for instance, that we create you and then we make you less, like we make you older, etc. It's always we, right? Quran first corrects this. So there is an action in question, resurrection. Who is the doer? Let's correct this. If it will happen, it will be done by the one who sends down the water, by the one who gives life, etc. Okay? So far, we corrected this understanding. That it's not us that live. It's not us that die. Right? Or it's not some natural laws that make us die or live. Like your biologist friend may say that, like someone like Zerin, for instance, come on, there's this biological, the equations or systems that makes it necessary as you eat food, you live. Now there's no such thing. We send down food, says, and then we give life. So when you look at this system, you should understand that he is doing. So why this is important? Now the question is different about the resurrection. And the question is whether the one who gives my life, sustain my life, and the one who will kill me, make me die, whether this one, not me, not natural laws, but this thing, whatever it is, whether it will resurrect me or not, whether through him I will have an everlasting life or not. So now the question is different. Now we need to understand how he treats us, what promises he makes with his signs. And then in other ayahs that we haven't studied yet, but Brother Yusuf nicely touched upon when he answered, we see that that thing, that person, or whoever it creates in a merciful way, in an orderly way, etc. And we study that, we can answer the question.
That was an emergency exit. So we will conclude with this for today. But before we conclude, I would like to request something from you guys, inshallah, for next week. First come. But also, the way we are now trying to look at the universe in the light of Qur'an, this is supposed to be a challenging perspective. I know the way I sound might be either too primitive or too, I don't know, weird. But let's push it a little bit further. Because really, we get used to looking at the life and existence in a certain lens, which is a scientific lens, without questioning. Now we are trying to reconsider this perspective and consider Qur'an's alternative perspective. And Qur'an uses really simple terms for discussing such a deep concept of resurrection, gives the example of water, rain, life, and whatnot. How is this? And we should be honest at this. You're not going to go into hell to be honest about it. Because if you read it on the surface, as I was mentioning at the beginning, that means I'm treating the verse so as not to break it apart. Let's be as serious with it as we are serious with our classes, with our science classes. When your science class talks you about this equation of gravity and whatnot, this should be at least as solid. It is way more solid, but at least as solid. Let's try to see that. Because really, we are after getting conviction, certainty from here. This is guidance, supposed to be guidance. Quran is supposed to be guidance. So inshallah, this is our goal. And I will very much appreciate that question and such questions even earlier in the discussion. Okay, let's try to be honest with ourselves. Whatever the question is, don't keep it inside. Don't think that, oh, I'm a pious person. If I ask such a question, they will think that I'm an infidel and they will start stoning me. No, we don't. Okay, so let's be honest. Okay. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين الفاتحة